Simplifying fractions. When we're asked to simplify fractions, they're really saying, Tina ate 2 pieces out of an 8-slice pizza. What fraction did she eat? Here's my 8-slice pizza. She ate 2 slices. That's obviously 2 pieces out of 8. But if we'd only cut the pizza up into 4 slices and she'd eaten the same amount, she's only eaten 1 slice out of 4. But they are exactly the same amount that she's consumed. 2 over 8 is the same as 1 over 4. It's just that 1 over 4 is simplified. That means it's been written with the smallest possible whole numbers. Now, to be able to simplify fractions, we can use our calculator, but it's a good idea to know the strategies by writing. And we do need to review lowest common multiple and highest common factor. Now, multiples of a number are the times tables of the number. So in this question where it says, please list the first 3 multiples of 8, I start the times tables. 8, 16, 24. Here where so that's multiples. Think of multiplication, the times tables of a number. It starts with the number itself and gets bigger, and they could go on forever. So a question would always say, list the first few. Factors are the reverse. They're pairs of numbers that multiply to give the number that we're looking at. So list all the factors of 24. They're pairs of numbers that multiply to give it. You can always get 1 and the number itself, and the number is going to be the biggest factor. We can't go bigger than that. So it's like the opposite of multiples. Multiples start with the number and go up. Factors will end with the number that we're looking at. Then you're just looking at all the other pairs of numbers that could give you 24. If it's an even number, 2 times something, so 2 and 12. And then, what else? Hey, we've got 3 would go into it. 3 and 8. And 4 and 6. So you've got to look at all the pairs of numbers that would give you 24. And you can always grab the multiplication grid if you need to do that. It's a good idea to then put them in order from smallest to largest. So they're all the numbers that could go into 24. So that's a reminder what factors and multiples are. Now, when I ask about lowest common multiple, it's saying common means shared, things we have in common. It's saying out of 2 numbers, what's the lowest multiple that belongs to them both? So to do that, we list the multiples of both numbers. Remember, multiples starts with the number and it's the times tables. Oops, I forgot 18. Now do a few, and then 8, we've got 8, 16, 24, oh, I don't need to go any further because I've found the lowest number that's on both lists, it's 24. So you learned this in Year 7, we're just reviewing it. So that's the lowest number that's a multiple of 6 and a multiple of 8. And we also need to know highest common factor. Remember, common is shared. So when I ask find the HCF, the highest common factor of 18 and 24, that's saying list all the factors of both of them and what's the highest one. Now, we already had the factors of 24. We also list the factors of 18. 1 would go in, 2 will, 3 does, and so it's 3 times 6, or it's 2 times 9, or it's 1 times 18. And then we find the highest number that's on both lists, which is 6. So the HCF of 18 and 24 is 6. So that's a very quick review of LCM and HCF. Now, the reason we did that is that we need the LCM and the HCF to simplify and to do some other things with fractions. So here's some types of questions that we might want. Equivalent fractions, just like here, where we discovered that 2/8 is really the same as 1/4. These are equivalent fractions. They mean the same thing. And they're asking, well, if I've got 3 out of 7, what's an equivalent fraction out of 14? Ask yourself, what did we multiply 7 by to get 14? That would be times 2. I've got to do the same thing to the top. 3 times 2 is 6. And this question ended up wrong, so this was meant to be a 9. So 3 out of 7 is the same as 6 out of 14. Now it's asking, well, 9 out of what is the same as these two? I can't do anything easy to get 6 to be 9. I'm not allowed to add. I have to multiply or divide. But if you go right back to the start here, 3 times what is 9? That would be times 3. Do the same thing here. And 7 times 3, 21. So often we're going to need equivalent fractions, and this will be one method of getting them. Now, when you've done that, we might want to check if we were right, and we'd check by simplifying. Simplifying is getting the smallest possible numbers in our fractions. Now, you can do it with the calculator. If you've got a green calculator and you type in 8 over 20 and hit enter, it will simplify it for you. This is 2 over 5. And that's fine. You're welcome to simplify by calculator. It's a good idea, though, to know why that works. And it's based on finding the highest common factor. 8 and 20, the highest common factor, the biggest number that goes into both, is 4. Rewrite 8 and 20 as, instead of 8, write it as 4 times something, that's 4 times 2. 20, write it as 4 times something, that's 4 times 5. And cancel out the factor that's on the top and the bottom that's the same, and we get 2 over 5. So that's how we simplify a fraction. But of course, you can use your calculator. So let's work out the answer to this one, and then check with the calculator. The highest common factor is 5. So let's write them both as 5 times something. 25 is 5 times 5. 15 is 5 times 3, and I'm allowed to cancel out one copy of the number that's the same, and that leaves me with 5 over 3. Check with my calculator. 25 over 15 is 5 over 3. So that's how we simplify our fractions, on paper or with a calculator.